so that I didn't know how to study. I just paid huge money for my studies. Hello everybody! Thank you for watching my video. In this video, I'll tell you about my English history in all English during this time. I'll try to speak slowly and clearly as much as possible to let you understand what I say. It's also gonna be your effective lesson while just listening my story. So stay tuned until the end of this video. Well, I'm not sure where to start to tell. I'm a pure Japanese and normal person like you. I was born in Okinawa, where it is a tropical area and has hot temperature all the year round. Because of my father's business, my family came here in Tokyo when I was 5 years old, so that I don't have much memory in my hometown, as I have lived in Tokyo for almost 40 years actually. In my high school memory, I was a kind of student who didn't like studying and did not want to get good grades in school to enroll a university. I wanted to work after graduation, but I was not interested in educational background. This mindset was totally a mistake that I now regret a lot. I should have studied more when I was a student. As a result, I had no choice but to repeat the first year in high school when I was 16. This experience was a nightmare because I was still a teenager and super sensitive how I look by others. Anyway, fortunately, people around me were so nice that I could enjoy my school days. Even if I was older than my classmates, they didn't care about the difference. They treated me like a true friend. Still now, we sometimes gather together to drink and talk about our old memories. When I was a high school student, I was working in a pizza shop as a driver to deliver pizza to customers for making money. Because I was into cars. I really wanted to drive a car in the future. One of the reasons is my father. He was a truck driver and took me many places when I was small. That is why my dream was to drive a car. And I checked the amount of money to get a driving license and also a car. The total price was huge. So I worked hard as a part-time worker to save money. After graduating the high school, which took me 4 years though, as you already know, I became a truck driver, of course. Some of my friends went to university while others joined technical college and others were hired by prestigious big companies. For me, I didn't have any skills or academic strengths and also the connection with someone. That's okay, that's my choice. That I wanted to be a truck driver for a long time. But before being a truck driver, I was struggling to be hired by transportation company because women drivers were not so common at the time. And I failed to be hired many times. Some companies didn't even give me a chance to take a job interview. They said women are not suitable to the job. They recommended I find other desk works. I thought I may not get a job anymore. But finally, one company kindly hired me. The president said the system of that company is made by comfortable work environment for women drivers. He said 25 years ago that he will face the future. The number of women drivers will increase in this society and women will be able to make a living by themselves, the same as men. I was so lucky to be hired by his company. That was 13th company since when I started to take job interviews. Well, the first, I had enjoyed working as a driver and my truck became bigger and bigger step by step, depending the time I got a special license. There were many problems, of course, like learning all roads and streets that my truck couldn't go through, or understanding what time has the most traffic jams in highway. But the biggest issue is that the work is so hard and the workload is tremendous. You know, truck drivers have to get up early to avoid crowded roads and deliver products to clients on time. Sometimes I could not go home and slept in my truck during the night, and my husband was a bad mood. Although I had both bad and good experience as a truck driver until 35 years old, I could manage my work and be used to the daily life. When I was 35 years, I wanted to do something new, like a hobby. My dream came true to be a truck driver, and the salary is stable. And also, I married, but I felt lonely. I felt like my life will never change, and this situation will repeat over and over again forever until I die. It's boring. I just drive a truck all day, every day, and go back home to drink with my husband every night while watching dramas, and on weekends we are always hangover. I was tired of unchanged lifestyle, so I tried to look for something new. I joined a sports club, like a sports gym, to do exercise, or went to yoga class and to learn the stock or investment. I tried to various things, but all of them didn't work. Everything was not enjoyable. I didn't take it. Indeed, one of my hobbies was to read a book, book off. I often went there to buy cheap books and sell books that I already read. One day, as usual, I went to the bookshop and found there is no book that I have never read. My favorite books were novels, documentaries, comics, magazines. I have never tried educational section like science or history and so forth. Anyway, I gave up and went through the academic corner where I met the English book the first time. I was wondering, English would not be my new hobby cause I hadn't studied before and was not interested to go abroad or to enjoy traveling other countries and to talk with foreigners. I was just a truck driver and didn't need English. But I read the English textbook, which was so difficult. Probably the book was junior high school level, but I couldn't understand at all. I thought I have never learned this one and that one. But the last page said I can take an English lesson with foreign teachers for twice as a trial for free of charge, which is great, right? Because it's for free and I took it. Now that I look back, I wonder why I thought I would be able to communicate with a foreigner in English, even though I haven't studied English so far. That is definitely my black history. Okay, I took a lesson with a Filipino teacher who is a guy much younger than me. He asked me some questions, maybe like what is my name or how old I am, like that. But I couldn't understand everything. Then I said, okay, yes. No, only that. I said suddenly, Hi? In Japanese. The teacher gave me an irritated look and I felt so sorry to him, but I didn't know what to do. And finally, the lesson finished in 25 minutes without English, even one sentence. Can you imagine that you are a super beginner and have never communicated with a foreigner in English, but you are forced to talk with them for 25 minutes. Now I know how much I was an idiot to try an English lesson. After the lesson, I was so shocked that I could say only 3 words. Yes. Okay, no. I really want to apologize to the teacher if possible. Okay, let's back to my story. Do you remember? I mentioned the trial lessons were twice. I had to take a lesson next day, but I didn't want to have the same failure as before. And then I practiced only simple English. For example, my name is Ayumi. I am a truck driver. Because I had only 24 hours left for the next lesson, I tried to speak English alone while working to practice because I didn't want to let the teacher down. Because of my low skills in the next lesson, I was so nervous. The teacher was changed. A new teacher was an American teacher. She was beautiful and friendly, and I showed how hard I had been practicing and said, "My name is Ayumi. I am a truck driver." The teacher said, "Great, Ayumi, you can speak English well," with a great smile. I was so happy and glad to be praised by the teacher. That was the start for my English history. I decided to officially join the online English school and took lessons many times in a day, which cost a lot of money actually, because that was totally my first experience to study in my life, so that I didn't know how to study. I just paid huge money for my studies, believing I will be able to speak English well someday. Just taking a lesson will never make you improve English skills. What I did was to study Aiken 4th grade the first by memorizing vocabularies and phrases, and while working, in my case, driving a truck, I had spoken English by myself. Sometimes I took lessons while driving. On weekends, I was stuck in my room to continue to study in order to pass the exam for ACAN. Because I was a super beginner, that's why reading English magazines or listening to English songs and watching English dramas were too early for me. I couldn't understand everything. I needed to study basic English, only that. Once I decided to study English, my lifestyle was changed 180 degrees. My coworkers and business associates asked me why I study English and said, "I don't need English, I'm just a driver. It's a waste of time." And also, my family complained about it because my priority was always English, not to do any house chores or go out with them. And I didn't make time for my family. I focused on only English. I know now I probably made my family disappointed and lonely, but over the time, my English skill improved little by little, passing exams and talking with teachers every day repeatedly. And that was my second turning point to get a new dream, an English teacher. While I had continued to study English for a couple of years, some people asked me how I studied English or why I can speak English well. Even others asked me to teach English to them. I began to teach English for people I know. That was incredibly fun, amazing, because I understand how they feel to study English. That is my strength. I totally understood deeply how Japanese perceive English in their brain and why English is difficult for Japanese, because I had been on the same road. I consulted with my husband and my mom to change the job, a truck driver, to an English teacher. But of course, they got angry with me and opposed my idea because I didn't even go to a university and didn't study anything. I didn't have any certificates or qualification related to educational affairs. I knew why they thought so, as they are right. But my desire got bigger and bigger, and finally I decided to secretly work in a big English school as a part-time teacher. When I worked in the school, I got shocked to know the curriculum and schedule provided for students, because those were not effective, and I felt it would take longer time to master English. It is fair to say that not all English schools have the same methods, and most English schools have the policy to let students improve their skills. But it's just my opinion. Beginner Japanese students should not take speaking lessons with foreign teachers. They need to learn basic English, like what the subject is or what the verb is, because students didn't realize what they need to learn the first. Therefore, they just came to the school to communicate with teachers. Even if they didn't understand, they didn't care. This working experience actually made me create an effective method for Japanese to study English. I checked out closely how I passed ACAN repeatedly why I was able to speak English from zero English, and I got some answers. First, students need to study reading and listening section from scratch. After that, they should learn writing and speaking well. While students practice speaking and writing continually, they also need to study reading and listening as well at the same time. Second, taking a lesson once a week is not enough. Students should use English every day except for lessons. Third, students need to brush up English skills, not to stop studying, which means they need to understand that English cannot be mastered for a few years. Once you decide to study English, you should study it forever until you die. I'll tell you the truth. I'm still taking lessons online with Filipino teachers because English is our second language. We will never master English forever, but if you stop studying, your skills will go down immediately. You don't want, right? After establishing my method, I quit a tracking job and started my own English school. The more I teach English to my students, the more I find new discoveries for effective methods and studies. I'd like to talk more about my English methods and how I passed various exams and how I study English even now for my improvement. But in this video, I just want you to know English is not out of your league. Look at me. My start was minus. Your position, your career is much higher than me, right? There is no way to give up studying English. I'm talking about the way of passing ACAN exams or getting high scores on TOEIC tests and how to speak English in other videos. You should check them out. I passed ACAN 1 grade when I was 38 years old and got full scores on TOEIC test after ACAN, which took me only 3 years to succeed. If you want to learn English with me, call my school or send emails. You are always welcome. I'll never let you down. Thank you for watching my video and see you soon. Bye.